the letters appear more than once, move all the letters to the left, so subtract 2f. So I get 2f plus 1 equals 11. Opposite of add is subtract. Opposite of multiply is divide. Move the letters to the left. So I get negative h plus 4 equals 3. Opposite of add is subtract. So I get negative h equals negative 1. So positive h equals positive 1. Move all the s's to the left. Opposite of add is subtract. Opposite of multiply is divide. Rearranging is similar to solving, so the opposite of divide is multiply, and the opposite of negative is positive. Opposite of squaring is square root. Opposite of multiply is divide. Opposite of square root is square. Opposite of divide is multiply. Opposite of add is subtract. So we get to 7y squared subtract 3 equals x. Need to move the 6, so it was multiplying, so we're going to divide. Then the opposite of the square is to square root. And the opposite of add is subtract. So we get to the square root of y over 6 subtract 2 equals x. Opposite of add is subtract. Opposite of multiply is divide. And the opposite of a square root is to square. So we get all of y subtract 10 over 8 squared equals x. Inequalities are more doing opposites, but we have the inequality signs. The opposite of subtract is to add. Opposite of multiply is divide. Keep the inequality sign. Opposite of subtract is add. Opposite of multiply is divide. Keep the inequality sign. Opposite of subtract is add. Opposite of multiply is divide. Next numbers, so we're going up by 10 each time. So we'll get 59, 69, 79. This is going down by 2 each time, so that's 7, 5, 3. Going down by 6 takes us down to 25, 19 and 13. Nth term, so it's going up by 7, so that's 7n. compare it to the 7 times table. To get from the 7 times table to my sequence, I need to add 4. Sequence is going up in ones, so it's 1n. Comparing it to the 1 times table, I need to add 8 to get my sequence. This sequence going up by 4s, so it's 4n. So I'm comparing to the 4 times table, and I need to add 2 to get to the sequence. This sequence goes up by 9, then 13, then 17. These are going up by 4 each time. So if I add another 4, 17 add 4 is 21. If I add 21 to 47, I get 68. Then add another 4, takes me to adding 25. 68 at 25 is 93. Then add another 4, makes 29. Add 29, takes me up to 122. 7 to 34 is adding 7, then add 13, then add 19. So these are adding 6. So add another 6, gets me to 25. Add that onto my sequence, takes me to 100. Takes me to 111. Add another 6, takes me to 31. Add 31 to my sequence, and I get 142. Add another 6, takes me to 37. Add 37 to my sequence, and I get 179. This is subtract 7. No. Subtract 13. Subtract 15. Subtract 17. So this is subtracting an extra 2 each time. So subtract another 2, takes me to negative 19. 93 subtract 19 is 74. Subtract another 2, takes me to negative 21. So 74 subtract 21 takes me down to 53. Subtract another 2 is negative 23. 53 subtract 23 takes me down to 30. 17 is the hardest question. Feel free to skip it. So it's gone up by 12, 14, 16. So these are going up by 2. Half of 2 is 1. So I want 1 times the square numbers, which are 1, 4, 9. But my actual sequence is 10, 22, 36. How do I get from the square numbers to the sequence? So I need to add 9, then add 18, then add 27. And these green numbers have an nth term of 9n plus 0. So the nth term of the whole thing is 1n squared plus 9n plus 0. Goes up by 11. 17, 23. So these numbers are going up by 6. Half of 6 is 3, so I want 3 times the square numbers, which are 3, 12, 27. My actual sequence is 15, 26, 43. How do I get to that? Well, I need to add 12, or add 14, or add 16. Those green numbers have an nth term of 2n plus 10. So the whole thing is 3n squared plus 2n plus 10. Add 11, add 15, add 19. So those are going up by 4. Half of 4 is 2, so I want 2 times the square numbers, which is 2, 8, 18. My actual sequence is 11, 22, 37. How do I get from the square numbers to the sequence? It's add 9, add 14, add 19. Those green numbers have an nth term of 5n plus 4. So the whole thing is 2n squared plus 5n plus 4.